people kind of wake up when you mention that to them because they feel so strongly about certain justice issues. But without God, there's no such thing as justice.
We've got our first question here, Frank, and this question is, hi, Frank and Alisa, thanks for doing this. Frank, what argument do you find is most compelling for people you meet?
Hey, great question. In fact, what you just said, Alisa, I think is the answer to this question because different people find different arguments compelling. Some people are more interested in the science. Other people are more interested in the moral argument for God. Others have no problem believing that there's a God, but they're not sure that Jesus is God. So then they jump to the New Testament. And so that's kind of one of the approaches that Dr. Geisler always took. It was sort of the classical approach to apologetics. Like, let's just start with truth. You don't believe truth exists? Let's just start there. And then we can move on to God, then the miracles, then the New Testament and the resurrection. Personally, I think for most college students today, the moral argument is the one that really is relevant to them because look, you can ignore that there was a beginning. You can ignore the design. It's really hard to ignore morality because you're dealing with it every day, right and wrong. And everybody has some sort of right or some sort of cause they're supporting on a college campus. Well, in the absence of God, those are all just mere opinions, right? I mean, if there's no God, who is the essence of goodness and righteousness, then everything's reduced to human opinion. There are no rights, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on. It's just your opinion, And so people kind of wake up when you mention that to them because they feel so strongly about certain justice issues. But without God, there's no such thing as justice. There's no such thing as objective right and wrong. Everything's a matter of opinion, and they can't live that way, right? So it really depends. Now, Christopher Hitchens, who I had the opportunity to debate a couple of times, he was that brilliant British atheist who sounded more brilliant than he was because he had a British accent. Christopher Hitchens thought that the most difficult argument to answer from his perspective was the fine-tuning argument, part of the science. Because look, it's you really can't explain it away. That's why people come up with the multiverse argument to try and multiply the probabilities that this universe would be so designed. And they try and say, well, if there's enough universes out there, this one would just be designed by chance, the luck of the draw kind of thing. But that really doesn't answer the question either. So that argument there is probably for scientists, certainly the most difficult one to answer. That's why they punt to the multiverse. They're trying to avoid the obvious implication that this place is designed.
Yeah, and Marvel movies are sort of creeping into the multiverse territory too. So there's another point of discussion you can have with your kids when they watch the new Spider-Man or some of the Doctor Strange and all of that. That's kind of delving into the idea of the multiverse. It's a great opportunity.
Oh, the multiverse and time travel. Oh, Spider-Man's dead? Nah, we're going to bring him back next movie.
Yeah, right. And the villains and everything. Yeah.
Tony Stark he can solve time travel in an evening.
Yeah, yeah. That's so I was just at a conference last weekend and I was making that same point that I think the moral argument is the most compelling one because even as you see some of these, in fact, you can Google some of Frank's videos on the Cross-Examined YouTube channel, and I have never, Frank, ever seen an atheist be able to wiggle out of the moral argument because you have such a way of taking just about every claim that they could make and pointing out how virtually every claim that's made from an atheist against the existence of God really has a moral core. And when you go to the moral argument, they either have to admit objective moral values do not exist, and at that point, they're basically saying that you can't say it's objectively wrong to torture a child for fun, and nobody wants to be that guy, or I've just never seen anyone be able to get out of being challenged on the moral argument. It's such a compelling and profound argument.